you can turn one on us already.
When you guys start, I'll start.
You guys are team one?
Yes. Okay. So we recognized that Pavement wanted to market itself to the Boston public, that it wants to be a community coffee house, that when you think Boston coffee, you think Pavement. And so we came up with this kind of idea for our campaign of coffee in the city. So it's going to be very an urban type feel to its coffee. So, you know, when you picture someone walking, you know, perhaps on pavement like you have on the bottom, and it'll say Pavement. They've got a cup of coffee in one hand, maybe a shopping bag in the other, and then hanging on their wrist, and then a sandwich in the other hand, and the city skyline in the background, some kind of notable Boston areas, maybe the Boston Commons, maybe, you know, for Boston University, the Citco sign, things like that. And that's kind of what we're going to take and kind of bring that throughout our entire campaign. And we're going to use all these different social media platforms that we have up here in order to kind of represent all of that. And that we have our little representation of our donut and how they all intertwine and connect. So, Twitter?
So with Twitter, what we're going to do is have a theme called Where's Your Coffee? It's going to be a daily competition of, we're going to take a coffee cup with Pavement on it, and take a picture of it with a Boston background. You have to guess what the background is. You're going to, or riddles as well. We're going to give you clues to where the coffee is, and you guess it. We're also going to incorporate Foursquare, which is next with that as well. So basically, it's tying in Boston again with Pavement coffee.
So then Foursquare will take, so say the clues are something along the lines of, okay, it's a big area where you could go on a sunny day and relax and sit on a bench, and there's a book that was written based on this area, which would be the Boston Commons, Make Way for Decades. And so then if you happen to be at the Boston Commons, that's where the coffee of the day clues lead you. You can then go on to Foursquare and say, I'm at the Boston Commons, and link that onto the Pavement Twitter account, onto the area that's talking about, you know, okay, the coffee of the day and the clues. So now if perhaps you didn't, you know, weren't the first one to answer the riddle as to where it was, you can now be entered into another pool in order to win prizes. So the first one to go on to Twitter and to say where it was, to give the answer, will get a prize, maybe a free cup of coffee coupon. And then now the person that is on Foursquare, chosen out of all the people who, I guess, linked into that, would then also be entered into a pool to win maybe a free cup of coffee coupon as well.
Okay, for the blog, which would be titled Coffee in the City, we kind of wanted to have a mixture of not only where is your coffee going in the city or where you're taking your coffee, but where your coffee's from. So how we're going to do that is that people can contribute kind of like a picture of where they took their coffee. Say they went for a walk at Castle Island, they took their coffee there, they have a picture of themselves there, and kind of how they drink their coffee, things like that. That will be one part, and they can contribute by sending it into either by Twitter or also just emailing the administrator. And then we're also going to have our YouTube videos going there, so that's where your coffee is from, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Okay, we would start a YouTube channel, and we'd have two different segments on the YouTube channel. The first would be, where has your coffee been? And that would kind of guide you through the origins of the farm that it was grown on, and show you the process that your coffee, the little trip your coffee is taken from the farm to the actual store. And another one we would do would be monthly interviews on the street. So we would get an employee dressed up in their uniform, walking around Boston, interviewing people, asking them, you know, how did you start drinking coffee? Why do you drink coffee? How do you take your coffee? And then maybe drop a little, you know, fun fact about, oh, well, this coffee was recently grown, it's fresh from here, and kind of give a little fun fact like that.
So all of these kind of are all incorporated together. They can all be put links onto the Facebook page, how to go onto the YouTube, the Coffee of the Month, get on to the Twitter account, the Foursquare, when they've linked into Twitter. So all of this is going to kind of be interactive, and it really makes Pavement more accessible to the community, since their goal is to kind of be a community focused coffee shop. And it will very much be based around the average Bostonian who's on the move, going places, and incorporate it into the city. And when you think Boston,